Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Mandela Factor channel. Here we're talk about economics of fascism, which broadly is called corporatism. So, as many of you know, fascism is an ultranationalist ideology that glorifies the state and a stateholder as a beloved leader while trying to expand their own quote unquote empires at the expense of other nation states through militarism. In terms of its economic standing, it holds a fairly gray area, with most fascist states being anti capitalist and anti communist, but having aspects from both economic models. This way, fascism has no real economic policy that is fixed or really observed, but rather is a mixture of which suits the nation at different times. In general, private property, corporations, and businesses can exist, but are not completely nationalized. But they are heavily regulated and monitored by the state. So, as long as they obey the state, they can keep control over the means of production. But if they decide to go against the state, they can be heavily punished. Yet businesses usually were very enthralled by the fascist German and Italian governments, as by supporting the expansion of these states, they could maximize their profits. This could be seen by genocidal projects such as Lebensraum by the Germans, having slaves from Eastern Europe now toil in factories on their very own lands to make products for the master German race, and thus making profit for these companies that built factories there. And they did support profit motive and private property for these very reasons, but wanted to limit broader mass capitalism. This was so they could eliminate the wealthy who may decide to go against them, such as the Junker class within Germany, who really had pride for themselves and saw the fascist party as just a bunch of thugs. Meanwhile, the German people would have seen the fascist party as an embodiment of the state and themselves, invoking greater patriotism. So ultimately, fascism was an in between capitalism and communism, where one party had a lot of power vested by the state, and they only intervened and supervised the businesses, and have a mutualistic relationship between businesses and fascist states, where the servitude of businesses equals the towards the fascist state equals profit for the businesses. And therefore, most fascist states are labeled as totalitarian capitalist or corporatist. We'll go into this deeper later in the case of Salazar's Portugal, but for now, in summary, it's where a few businesses grow powerful and, in this case, collude with the state to set prices and wages, which can function with varying successes.